Okie dokie. Smoky. Looks like we're live. Check, check. Looks like we're live. And intro.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's the We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera. And I am with me. That's who. Anyway, so normally my co-host would be here, and I'm a little close to the screen. It's a little crazy. It'll zoom out when the guest comes on. So today we're going to have Mike Lopez of Incredicon, and this is a follow-up from our last interview, so I'm excited about that. I don't know why I'm so close to the screen. I gotta fix that. But anyway, so George currently is moving. Yes, so because of that, he hasn't had his Verizon set up, and so he won't be here tonight. So I am all by myself. Don't wanna be. So, with that said, we're still carrying on the green frame because we're currently in a Kickstarter, and this is day 5 of our Kickstarter, and we're currently at 10%. You know, we launched our first Kickstarter, my first Kickstarter ever. I've never done one before. A lot of anxiety, and if you watched the last episode on the Crazy Nintendo List, I'll give you the whole backstory leading up to the Kickstarter and the premise behind all the characters and the story and the plot and the whole bit. So what you see on the top of the screen, it says referral code. So if what I would like, if you're a fan of Catch the Craze podcast and you're a fan and friend of the Craze, George and myself, please refer our Kickstarter to friends and family. And let them know we have an amazing all-ages fun concept comic book series called The Crazies, but it's Catch the Crazies. So volumes 1 and 2, which will be 2 arcs, we're currently working on issue number 1, and it's 24 pages, full color. So I just want to make sure we're clear about this. 24 pages of stories, not 24 pages of the book, and it's like 16 art and then the rest of it's ads. It's actually 24 pages of story. And it'll probably be a 32-page comic, but 24 pages is the story. The rest is going to be like a backstory and sketches and original art stuff from the artist. And we have JC Grande, who is the artist on it, and he's done work for Image Comics and a few other independent publishers. And I am excited because he started working on that project on Sunday to make up for lost time because we lost our original artist. He decided to move on to other things and not continue with the story. So, water under the bridge, but we're excited. But we're at 10%, and to have a fighting chance, we have to be at 25% by Friday. And it is Wednesday, so we need you. We can't do this without you. It's a great concept. If you were a fan of There's an Alien in My Toilet, which I wrote and illustrated and created myself. And if you were a fan of Rush 5377, then think about the dynamic. Think about Sam, the creator of There's Nailing in My Toilet, and George, the creator of Rush 5377, bumping their heads together, right? And working on a project together called Catch the Crazies. So you get the best of both worlds. So, and I know that we have fans of This Nailing in My Toilet because when it was in cycle, when I was doing cons, I sold a few thousand copies at cons. So, and there was a lot of great feedback. So I've been out of the game. This is my return to the game, and this is our return. And this is a really fun book. And you see on the page right now, on the cover, is Crazy. And he is the leader of the Crazies. He comes from elsewhere, which is another realm, and it's chaotic, and there's a lot of stuff in there. And if you go to the episode 28 of the Crazy and 10 or Less, you'll learn a lot about that. So, without further ado, I'm going to let my guest on the show, Mike Lopez, since he's in the waiting room, and I gave you my pitch. So there's a referral code for our Kickstarter. I need your help. Please promote it to your friends and family. Talk about Catch the Crazies. Let's make this happen. Admit Mr. Lopez to the room. And if you're watching, give us a thumbs up. Let me know that you're watching. Hey, there he goes. Let me, gallery. There you go. Your audio's in?
Yeah.
Hey, welcome, buddy.
Hey, are we live?
Welcome back. Yes, we are.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. So it's just me and you, buddy. Georgie Porgy moved into a new apartment on Monday and hasn't been able to get Verizon in to set up his cable, and he's been waiting all day for them today. So it's you and me right now.
Oh, I have Verizon coming here in a couple of weeks. I have Optimum, and we're not going to say any bad things here on the air, but Optimum, yeah.
Yeah, I gave up Optimum a long time and went to Fios.
There you go. There you go. So what's going on tonight? How are you?
What's going on? A lot of things going on, but I really want to know what's going on with you. It's been a while, so let everybody know who you are.
My name is Mike Lopez, and I am the co-founder, co-creator, co-collaborator on Incredicon, and I also we've been doing our Incredit chats since the beginning of the pandemic. I know you had Grazi on here a while ago.
Yes.
Talking about those, but we've been doing the Incredit chats since April, and we've had a lot of cool guests so far, and we have a lot of cool guests still coming up, and I've been plugging away, and it looks like we finally have something coming up in October for our Incredicon brand.
Really?
Yes,
really?
yes.
Any Easter eggs?
Yeah, no. So obviously all the stuff that's been going on in our world, the world of conventions really has, kind of like imploded a bit, right?
A bit.
So
a little bit.
I've been really trying really hard to find the right venue, the right place to do our Incredicon show, because we're a small, little family-friendly, community-based event here in the Hudson Valley,
right? And
we normally would be doing our October Incredicon over at the Poughkeepsie Galleria, which has been awesome. We've been doing that for 2 years now. And a lot of our vendors, a lot of our artists here in the area, they haven't been doing shows. You're an artist, it's really it really is a struggle right now, and that's more about the Incredit chats and why we do that.
Yes.
So I've reached out to the town, and it looks like the way to go obviously is outdoors right now. Everything is outdoors. So we are tentatively looking at October 24th.
Ooh.
October. I know it's like right around the corner.
Yeah.
I just kind of got town board approval Monday night.
Wow.
So I'm really pushing hard and fast to make this happen relatively quickly. So October 24th is a tentative date with a possible rain date of Halloween, October 31st.
Whoa!
I know, and God forbid anything else happens, we're looking at November 7th, that Saturday. Just depending on what weather looks like. But to do an outdoor Incredicon, Pandoracon, like we were going to do in March, at the Wappingers Town Hall up in Wappingers Falls, New York.
Wow! So you have a backup for the backup for the backup.
I mean, the unfortunate part about doing an outdoor event is, I mean, especially with 3 weeks, 4 weeks away, we don't know what the weather's going to be like. It's the
Right.
fall. It's not the summertime. So, I mean, it could be anybody's guess. It could be really, really cold. If it's really, really cold, we're still going. But if it's raining, that's the thing that's going to stink the most.
Well, and if it's windy.
And if it's windy, yes.
Yes, because today I was at the American Dream Mall, and
Are they open?
Well, yeah, the big snow is open. The
Okay.
ski slope, they open tomorrow officially.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the mall opens tomorrow. So when you park by big snow on the top deck and you walk that path to get to the entrance, the wind is out of control. You're like Michael Jackson in a video with the clothes, and you're trying to like fight against the wind. It was crazy. So I could imagine. So now, because you're doing it outdoors and because it's a short window of time, logistically, how are you putting it all together?
Oh, well, yeah, that's an awesome question. And, you know, fortunately, we've been doing this enough, and we've been doing, like I said, these Incredit chats that we've had, like, people have been supporting us through all this. So up here in the Hudson Valley, I definitely want to shout out a couple of the local shops. Alternaverse in Hyde Park. Anthony is the owner of that. Champion Sports Cards and Collectibles, and that's Steve. He's the owner of that. And Kerwin's, where Dave is the manager of that. So those are three of our big, like, card and comic shops here in the area. So they've been really supporting us through prior to the pandemic with all the events that we've done,
Nice.
and certainly through the pandemic. And also, as you know, the Pandorica part of it, Pandoricon, there's the Pandorica restaurant with our friend Shirley over in Beacon, New York, the Doctor Who themed restaurant. So we've really created this nice network of people. So all of them are going to be involved, and really the vendors that have been with us for the long haul are all pretty much on board for this. And again, like you said, the wind, the weather, it adds a different element to it. But like up here in the Hudson Valley, there's like a lot of farmers markets. There's a lot, like there's the big Stormville flea market, and everybody's kind of like going, and they're going through like October, November. So that was my thing. It's like, if all these things can do it, we might as well be able to do a Comic-Con.
Okay, so here we go. So this is so I'm going to ask all the questions that all the listeners will probably want me to ask. So now, capacity, space, like it's outdoors. What's the venue size, and what are the expectation of the capacity, especially with social distancing guidelines?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, everybody's got to wear a mask,
Right.
100%. You know, if you're sick, stay home. But there you go. But I mean, everybody's gonna wear a mask, you know, and we're outside. We're gonna be. They have a big piece of property. They have a parking lot, so we're gonna be spaced out. Like, most of our vendors will have probably like a 10 by 10 spot, but there's gonna probably be more than 6 feet between vendors. You know,
Right.
So, you know, just being mindful of that. And again, everybody's in a mask, so you know, we're not gonna have huge clumps of people. We're not bringing in like any big celebrities where you're going to have, you know, long lines and things like that. It really is like a farmer's market, you know,
Right.
and I'm sure you've seen stuff like that. I mean, the art up here, and I'm sure everywhere, the yard sales are happening. So I'm not saying we're going to have it's like a yard sale crowd,
Right.
but I mean, like we should have a good amount of people passing through. It's in a great location between two of the main artery roads here in the Hudson Valley. So, and doing it on a Saturday, we'll have the signs up because we still have all of our leftover signs from our March event. We're just going to change the date and the location of it.
There you
It's
go.
really easy to put up. And like I said, it's going to be really, really to support the local vendors who have been with us for all this time. And then there's a handful of artists who we're going to be reaching out to. Some of them we've had on Incredit Chat. Some of them have been at other shows of ours. So we're just in the process of securing that. Like I said, things are moving fast.
Right.
And you know, once we have set talent, and again, we're not going crazy bringing in a ton of people. It's just, again, local people.
Right.
But we'll be announcing that all on our Facebook page as well as our website, IncrediconHV.com.
Nice. So is this tents or tables?
It's going to be a combination of both. Really, the way, again, to make it easier for the vendors, make it easier for us, because the main thing is making it affordable.
Right.
You know, it's a free event for the community. really for the vendors, and certainly anybody watching, if you're interested in this, shoot me a message on Facebook, or go to the Incredicon HV page. But Facebook is like the quickest, most direct way to get me. We're making that really affordable for artists and the vendors to come here. We're just pretty much covering the cost of the venue, which is the property rental, and we need to get the insurance for it. Just easy stuff. I want people to come in there knowing that they're not investing a ton of money into it, and the money is going to be coming back to them from the people purchasing whatever it is, whether it be Funko Pops, artwork, comics. I'm going to have record dealers there.
Nice.
That's a new element we're going to be adding into the Incredicons now, vinyl, because vinyl is like the hip new thing. I just got a record player.
Hey, I'm about to put in vinyl flooring. So,
there you go.
So, what were some of the restrictions or the specific guidelines that you needed to adhere to in order to get accepted by the board, the commission, or whoever it was that approved you? What were some of the things that they expect you to comply with?
Well, I got to say, what's really cool is the weekend before, like October 17th, and I'll give them a shout out for folks who are interested in like craft fairs at the Wappingers Town Hall. They are running a craft fair. So really, we are doing the same exact thing that the town run event is doing, because instead of crafts, they're doing it all outside. So I'll be there the weekend before anyways to promote a little bit. But
smart.
It's the same thing. So. Yeah. And that's why we're kind of piggybacking on that a little bit too, the same kind of model, because again, these things are happening. This is a time you kind of have to be creative. Like you're doing your podcast, we do our live chat and all that stuff. We're really trying to reinvent things right now, and that's the way to do it.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Is being outside the ideal way? Probably not, but can it be done? Absolutely.
Right. So that's just.
If everybody's smart and safe, then it's going to be fine.
Yeah, but the smart part I'm not sure about. But you have been watching the news. People are acting up. But so why put the pressure on yourself to try to get this done in such a small window?
Well, I mean, we've done Incredicon. This will be our third year, and I think we're small enough that we can pull this off, and again, it's a passion of mine.
Right. And
I want to do this for the community and for the people that have really supported us. There's a lot of, and this will go into the grander scheme of things, is, there's a lot of Comic-Cons out there, and I mean, and a lot of really good folks who run these shows. And there's bigger ones, there's smaller ones, and unfortunately during this whole pandemic thing, it's probably, if you're not promoting anything, it's really easy to get lost in the shuffle now.
Right.
And so one of the things I've really been trying to do is keep Incredicon relevant. Like I said, we literally a week or two after we went into this lockdown, we were supposed to have our March event. So that's why I said to Grazi, like in April, I said, we got to go live and do like weekly chats. And I mean, him and he does his Get in Tune on Tuesdays. I do Incredit Chat on Thursdays. But literally we were doing at one point, like at least 3 shows a week, and it was a lot. It was a lot. And doing it live, finding guests that were live, or just, finding topics to talk. I mean, there's so many great things and people that we can talk to, but it's work, and
yes.
It's kind of it's a labor of love.
Yes.
But just keeping relevant, because there are some bigger shows in the tri-state area who really haven't done anything.
Right.
And again, like we don't have a huge following, but we have enough of a local following that it's important to stay relevant.
Right. So how much of it is just wanting to get out and get something done versus wanting to put on a good show? Because I know for myself, like, I just can't wait to socialize. I just can't wait to be human, to be normal, right? And I can't wait for comic book events. Man, I miss it so much. So absolutely. How much of it is that's just driving you?
Oh, I mean, listen, we were, and I mean, and Grazia's talked about this too, and I think the last time I was here, like we were traveling to multiple shows a year, so definitely I work in a school during the day, but I always enjoyed, on the weekends traveling out to do different cons, whether it be in the local area or traveling up to New England or out to like Philadelphia to do different events. And so I definitely miss that social aspect of it. I miss looking at like all the different merchandise. As a fan myself, like I collect comics, I collect toys, so I miss the hunt of it, and that part, and that's why like I enjoy. My girlfriend and I, we go and do like yard sales and flea markets, looking for these cool little treasures, and so that's a big part of it, the social part of it, and like again, like so many of these vendors are struggling. A lot of folks are doing their online events, but their online sales, and that's great. But I think, like you said, like to actually be amongst other people, to some extent,
right.
And digging through the boxes of comics, it's a lot different than like going through a long box as opposed to like clicking on something on eBay,
Right. Very different. It's the experience.
Just exactly, and like you're going through a long box, and eBay, you kind of know what you're looking for.
Right.
You go into knowing what you're looking for. You're going through someone's long box or a box like like people have like those boxes of toys. You don't know what you're going to find in there. So you may find something like, oh wow, I totally forgot about this thing. I want to get this, whether it be a book, a toy, what have you. So that, and certainly for the artists, they were doing these this was their bread and butter, like going out there doing commissions and these things. And again, they're home, they're doing it, but it's a good way to for people to see the different kind of art that's out there. So so it's a little bit of both.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about why Incredicon.
Why Incredicon?
Yes, if I don't know anything about it, and I am a comic enthusiast, but I've never heard of Incredicon, I'm in the area, why would I want to attend?
Well, I mean, certainly it's it's something to do. I mean, like, again, probably where you are too, you'd be surprised. Like, people are out and about doing, we have this whole pandemic thing going on, but people are out and about looking for things to do. Movie theaters aren't open. Some places, restaurants are just starting to open again. In the month of October, a lot of your Halloween events are pretty much done. Like we have a Star Trek fan club here, and the person that runs that, she does a phenomenal job with the Star Trek club, but she also designed our Incredicon website, and she does really nice work and fast turnaround. So she's ready to go once we have all the information ready. But they're gonna have a way to give out candy to kids. Like they built one of those big long pipes already, and they have it attached to something. So she's like, yeah, the kids can come, and if they want to get candy, we're just gonna drop it down the tube. It's like, awesome.
That's smart.
Let's go for it. So just it's something again to do. Like, again, I live up here in the Hudson Valley, and like I just took my son this past weekend. There's all the different like local farms and stuff, and you get people coming from all over to these local farms. So again, doing something outside like this, like we might have a nice crowd with the local audience, and people just driving down Route 9 is the main thoroughfare here in Wappingers Falls. So people just driving down and seeing like, a outdoor Comic-Con down the street. They may just come and check it out.
So this is a multi-pronged question, right? So what percentage of it is just passerby, and what percentage of it is you marketing it, and where are you soliciting the information?
All right. Well, I mean, everything. This is going to be different than what we've done in the past, because in the past we've tied it into the Malloween event at the Poughkeepsie Galleria. So they had a big Halloween event. We were part of their Hallow Weekend. So unfortunately, that's not the case this time. But we have partnerships with Q92, the local iHeart stations here, the Poughkeepsie Galleria. We'll advertise with them, and then certainly now partnering with the local municipality. They're going to be out there spreading the word, as well as all of our signage and our media, our online media, social media presence as well. So that's definitely gonna bring people in, which will be cool.
Nice. So, are you locked in for the 24th, or is this a fluid date?
I will say I'm hoping to be locked in for the 24th. It's
Right.
open. I have to finish up some phone calls now, but I mean, in the next couple of days, like I said, Friday we should hopefully be locking in, and by the weekend announcing like officially the date and the rain dates and whatnot. Like I said, it's moving very very quickly. Like
Yeah,
in 3 days.
I can tell because I can hear it in your voice. So now here's the other part, right? So you have 3 weeks.
Yes.
Have you established a guest list yet?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I have my vendors,
Right.
and I have probably about 6 artists that I'm just waiting to hear back from. Again, all local folks that we know.
Right.
Once they're confirmed, that'll be all up there. So, like I said, we're staying local. We're
Right.
not going all the way out there. People who are within like maybe a half hour
Right.
out driving distance from us. So it's going to be really put together. And I have relationships with these people from all the past events that we've done.
Right.
And also working with the local comic shops and stuff here in the area. So that makes it a lot easier.
Right.
I mean, if we were doing our normal event, we would have all those people plus more.
Right. Right.
We'd have a bigger venue.
So based on this small window, you anticipate how many vendors and how many artists?
I'm gonna say between artists and vendors, my goal is 20 to 30.
Okay, good. All right, that's good.
Like,
see, because
the craft fair has right now 30 vendors.
Okay.
So I'm shooting for about that same number.
Right. Okay. Good. See, when I was listening to you, I was getting nervous for you. I was like, "Wow, this is aggressive," and I'm used to putting some ridiculous expectations on myself. But when I was listening to this, I was like, "What?" And but when I hear the size of it, I'm at ease a little bit.
Well, I will say this much. We like I said, going back to March, we were going to do our event in March. That was canceled.
Right.
So the majority of the people that are going to be joining us were the local folks from March. As the spring progressed into the summer and things started to open up, the conversations were already being had like in June, July to see if there was a way to do an outdoor thing during the summer. Obviously state regulations,
Right.
whether it be local or, statewide, that slowed things down. Like literally, like I mentioned, the Stormville Flea Market, they usually start like in April. They didn't start until the middle of September this year.
Wow.
So this has been in the talks since June. So the people who I'm counting on for this, like they've been at the ready, and I've been updating them regularly as different things progress. Like, it is in regard to this particular partnership with the town, it's moving fast, but the behind the scenes part of it is we've been talking about this. It's not like, oh, hey, cool, we're just going to do this now.
Right.
We've been anticipating to go whenever something happens.
Right. Okay. Cool. So that's pretty awesome. It's exciting to know that there are people out there that are still trying to put on events, giving the misinformation and the confusion that's been created, and you don't know whether to go left or to go right, to put this on, put that on. So the fact that there are people out there trying to bring some joy and normalcy to the population, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
The one thing I want to just say, and this is for anybody that wants to, do a Comic-Con, is a lot of it, really is building the relationships with the people involved. Like there are so many Comic-Cons that make the mistake about like, we're just going to do this. It's all about the money. Like for me, it really is a collaborative project, like working with just the local municipalities, local businesses, the local comic shops, the vendors, getting input from them. Like, hey, do you guys think this is going to work? Because, when it comes to a Comic-Con, nobody knows how a Comic-Con works better than the people tabling at the Comic-Con.
Right.
This is what they do every weekend.
Right.
So I take the suggestions and conversations with them very important, very seriously, because, it's them who are putting their stuff out there and taking the time and making the investment in what I'm doing,
right,
to make their money.
Right, and it goes. And I mean, if you can apply that in a lot of things. I mean, in the business world, I always use the phrase "win your people, win your business," right? Because it's the people. I think what happens is, we look people, managers and directors. They look at analytics, KPIs, data, right? And that's how they gauge whether or not they're successful. Coaches look at the health of the team. Do they have the knowledge? Were they trained? Do they have the support? Because if they have that and has trust been established, if they have all those things, then they're more willing to take risks and do the right thing for you because they know that somebody has their back, right? So they're going to be much more loyal, and they're going to influence those KPIs that we're looking at in the boardroom, not knowing who's contributing to those results.
No,
right?
Absolutely. It's a mutual investment.
Yes.
And then going back to March, when all these things were happening, and I mean, it wasn't just the show that we were doing with me and Grazio, with Incredicon and Pandoracon. Like, there are so many conventions that had to cancel or postpone, and some of them were like, oh, we're going to just roll your money over to the next show, not knowing at this point when that next show is going to be. Like, I mean, you probably know this, like back in April, May, everybody's like, oh, cool, we're going to start doing shows in like September. Everything's postponed. Like, and honestly, like, had that really happened, there would have been like 50 billion shows happening right now because everybody was postponing for September and October, but people were rolling money over. Some shows, sad to say, did not even refund. Like, people wanted refunds. They didn't even refund, to their ticket holders, to their vendors, like the first thing, as soon as the venue where we were supposed to do our show in March, refunded us our deposit, all that money went right back to the vendors. It wasn't even a question.
Right.
And they were thankful for that. And so again, it's a partnership. I really look at all these guys as a part. They're the vendors of the shows, but they're really the partners in making it a successful show.
Yes, and I think the bigger the show, the less of the relationship. And I think like I did the Big Apple Con for many years, and I had a great relationship with Michael Carbonero.
Yes.
And I felt special. It was always an easy situation. I always knew where I was set up, and I felt good. And then when I did New York Comic Con, I felt like an outcast, right? And it was like, where's my stuff? How come I asked for electricity? I never got electricity. Why was I put here? I asked for a corner. All those things, you're an afterthought, because they're just filling slots. The only other time that I felt a little special is when I did San Diego Comic-Con, and that's because I bought an ad in the program book, right? Gotcha. So they're like, all right, we're going to treat him a little more nicer this time, right? Because he bought a full-page ad. But it says a lot about character when you take the time to establish those relationships, because you never know when your roads, meet again. Right? Absolutely. And you cross paths again, and or when you're on the other side, and somebody that started out at your venue is now hosting a bigger venue, and they're like, "Hey, come and work with me over here." So you want to keep those relationships. That's a good thing to have.
Yeah, and I mean, it's spreading word of mouth too, because you like those vendors are going to talk to other vendors, and more vendors are going to come to your show, and they're going to go on their social media, they're going to post it. People who follow these vendors will be like, oh wow, they're going to be at that show. I'm going to that show now too.
Right.
And that's so important. It's investing in human capital. That's the best way to say it.
Right. So now let's look at 2021.
2021.
2021. if all goes well during the transition and the election, and we don't have massive chaos, it's crazy.
Either way, there's going to be massive chaos.
Yeah, I know, right? So we have to get past the storm. But what do you have planned for 2021? Have you looked down the road at that year, or you're just trying to get through this year?
I mean, really, I'm trying to get through this year. I mean, 2021, Grazi and I always joke about this, because I'm the kind of person, the way that I work with this is I'm like, let's just do it. Like, the Incredicon really happened in a couple of months. When I first pitched it to Grazia, he's like, he's like, well, we need time to plan this. I was like, no, we're just going to go to the mall and do it. And the mall did it, and we threw it together in like 2 or 3 months, So, and like, again, like, you're seeing like how this thing is. I was very fortunate. I had really good good teachers, if I can say it and say it in that way, in regards to Comic Cons. And I got to see a lot of how behind the scenes things work as being a guest at some shows.
Right.
So that's why it was a little easier to put this together. Like, and I mean, you've done shows like you see some of the, you kind of know what to do and what not to do.
Right.
And we're a smaller show. So, and I think that's really the way for the time being things are going to be.
Yes.
I mean, you're talking about New York Comic Con, you're talking about San Diego. Like, will those shows come back? Yes. Will they come back to the way that we knew them as? Probably not right off the bat. People are going to be looking for these smaller shows,
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, for 2021, I mean, absolutely, we will be back. We have to see what it's going to look like. I mean, like, would I love to in January, February? Like, let's hope everything is good then, and the mall can like have an event inside. Like, I would love to do one in the mall in the middle of the winter, because there are no winter shows. Something like that. Springtime. We found out the venue where we were supposed to do our March Incredicon. They say it was actually their closing day, the Ramada and Fishkill. They were closing today. They had found that out like very, very quickly themselves too, because I was reaching out for them to do an indoor thing, and that was a possibility. And she said we're done. We're done on the 30th. So I mean, there's other opportunities. I mean, by all means, the mall is our home, and people have dug that there. So 2021 is that. I mean, and then our Incredit chats, that we've been doing. Grazia's doing like I said, Grazia does Get in Tune on Tuesdays. He's got all these great cartoonist people. I've been bringing in some really interesting pop culture folks over the last few months. So I'm continuing that. Like, I just lined up a pretty cool guest today. So I do remember the show SCTV back in the 80s with John Candy. It was the Canadian Saturday Night Live.
Right. Wow.
John Candy, Eugene Levy, Martin Short were on, Catherine O'Hara, a bunch of these folks were all on there. So there was this one guy, Jewel Hallemeyer, and he was like a costume designer for the show. And they wanted to put on they wanted to include like this really bad dance troupe on some of their skits, like Catherine O'Hara, and I mean, these are great comedic geniuses,
right?
Catherine O'Hara's like, we want to have this like really bad dance troupe on here. So it was like made up of writers and like different behind the scenes people, and Jewel Hallemeyer, and he designed the costumes, and they would do like these horrible dances, but they were like a recurring joke on there. And he was in a bunch of the episodes. So we're going to have him on in 2 weeks. Wow. So I'm just like really picking out some interesting folks. And we had Dan Parent on, we had Fernando Ruiz. This tomorrow night, anybody who wants to watch us, we'll be live with Javier Cruz Winnick. I think you guys know him. Yes. He's a really good guy. Next week with Javier tomorrow. Next week we have Lewis Henry Mitchell, who's an artist over at Sesame Street. So I mean, we've had some really cool people, and I have to say the way the pandemic has worked for us is that our guests, have really expanded past people who are in our area, because everybody's communicating over the internet now. So we're bringing in people. Like last night, Grazia had on Dave Alvarez, who's an amazing artist. So he was on Get in Tune last night, and he was on Incredit Chat a few months ago.
Right.
He was promoting a game, so he was on there. We had Scott Shaw, who did Captain Carrot for DC Comics. He created Captain Carrot, and I mean, he worked on so many animated things. Talking about SCTV, he worked on Camp Candy, the Ed Grimley cartoon. He did all that stuff. We had him on, and that was one of our early Incredit chats back in April, and that we were on for like 2.5 hours with this guy, and amazing conversation. We were talking about comics, cartoons, and he's out in like San Diego, and it was great. We've had some of the folks from the Muppets on. Wow. I had Scott Innes, who was in the first 4 straight to DVD Scooby-Doo movies like Zombie Island, Witch's Ghost. He was the voice of Scooby and Shaggy in those. Nice. He does a lot of the merchandise, so he was on. We had Tony Benedict on, who was an artist. He's still an artist, but one of his first art jobs was Disney's Sleeping Beauty, and then he worked at Hanna-Barbera on the Jetsons and a lot of those cartoons.
Nice.
So I mean, really making some cool connections worldwide through this.
Yeah, I think so. George and I mentioned that in one of our shows that we've had a lot of people internationally, whether it's Indonesia, whether it's Poland, India. I mean, it's just amazing. And what also is fascinating is if you believe the hype in the news, you think we hate each other, right? And but when I think we're just humans wanting to live our life and follow our passions, and it's amazing how much worldwide we all have in common.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And what brings us together is the arts,
Absolutely.
And I think the creatives we just want to create. We just want to have fun. We don't want all that nonsense, all that noise, And I think that's why I think podcasting just boomed with the pandemic. And if you had stock in Zoom and you had stock in Logitech, you made a lot of money because
Absolutely. Who knew what Zoom was until like March?
Exactly, right? Exactly. And then all of a sudden you couldn't buy any more webcams because everything was out of stock.
Absolutely.
It was crazy. But at least it showed that people wanted to get together. People wanted to talk. People wanted to be normal and communicate, because we're social creatures. We're not supposed to be locked up. That's how you get rebellions. That's why you get Star Wars, right? So it's like,
watch the news and see what's going to happen, right?
Right. That's what that's what happens. You get all this crazy nonsense because there's so much you can cage. You can't cage a lion too long. After a while, the lion's like, this is not how it's supposed to be. But yeah, that's pretty fascinating. So why did you decide to start Incredichat, and when did you start it?
Well, like I said, Incredichat, we started really at the beginning of the pandemic, and that was because we weren't able to do Incredicon, and it started off originally with me and Grazia just like talking about comic books, right. And then we had our buddy Ray Felix on, which turned into Ray Felix show. Yeah. We love Ray.
Yes. Don't give Ray the mic because you'll never get it back.
So Ray's a very good friend, but I mean Ray is the best. Yeah. So we were talking comics with Ray, and then that kind of involved we're like let's talk to some of our friends, and actually our first celebrity guest star is our good buddy Marty Grabstein, the voice of Courage the Cowardly Dog, and he's done a couple of things with us, and we're gonna try and do something for Halloween with him as well. But he was our first guest. So we're like, we've made all these friends, over the years doing these conventions, because I've been doing them for about 10 or 11 years now. Wow. We've been running the Incredicons for about 2 years now, and then we were traveling, doing kids sections at different cons, so it's been about 10, 11 years. So we've made all these contacts with all these artists and celebrities and stuff, and it's just like let's tap into that, and at least bring content. Like I'm not a big fan of these online Comic Cons that people are doing now. Right. Yeah. Neither am I. I don't think for what we're doing right now, I don't think you need to pay to see that. Right. Or I think some of them you have to pay to see a panel, and that's great. I can pay to watch a panel of William Shatner talking about the same thing. I can probably go to a YouTube video from 3 years ago and he's doing the same exact.
Yes, exactly.
So, and again, just giving people a chance to promote their work, let people know that they're out there. Like Marty's talking about his cameos when he's on there. He wants people to come and buy his cameos. Like I said, I had Dan Perrin and Fernando Ruiz on a few weeks ago. So we were, telling people where they can go get their Die Kitty Die comics. Javier's going to talk about Reason to Smile tomorrow. Just exposing people to different things. I did, crowdfunding, things like that. The 90s Mickey Mouse Club. If you remember that, where Britney Spears and all of them came from. The other members of the Mouseketeers, they came together to put together a Christmas album, and their campaign ends in a couple of days. So I had one of the Mouseketeers on. Yeah, because it wasn't that
they also came from Kids Incorporated.
They both were on at the same time, okay. 2 different shows, but yeah, they're like back to back on the Disney Channel. Right. But they put together a Christmas album through the pandemic. Wow. And they had it funded in 2 days. You know, so I had one of the Musketeers on. We were talking just about that. You know, so just, you know, promoting other things that are going on. I mean, like certainly we're promoting Incredicon too, but you know, just letting people talk about what they want, and like, hey, you know what, if somebody sees, you know, your comic or your CD or whatever it is that you're doing, and they want to go throw a couple of bucks to you,
right,
then by all means,
right.
You know?
But I mean, that was the whole intent of Catch the Craze back in 2005 when I launched it. Was let's create a platform where, as creators, we get to get the word out about who we are, but also connect and build our network with other creators in the industry. To be that one-stop shop, a voice for the independent community. And, you know, you probably heard about it, you know, when George and I talked about it. We didn't know what we had back then.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't understand when we were seeing, you know, the traffic, and we were getting in the hundreds of thousands in the data report I was getting from the website. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. We didn't understand that. You know, walked away from it. Had I known that, I would never have left it, and I would have continued with it. You know, so I think the purpose of anything that we do in the independent community is really just to expand its reach and get people to talk about people they might not have necessarily known about. I mean, when everybody goes to the big shows, they have a laundry list of who they want to see.
Exactly.
They're going to see the big names. They're passing right by Artist Alley. They're running past Small Press. They're going to the big show, right? So how do you get the word out that you're in Artist Alley, that you're in Small Press? We need venues like this, like Incredichat, like Catch the Craze, to be able to give them a platform to share their voice and share their creativity.
No, absolutely, 100%. And you know, it's just whether it be, you know, discovering something new or revisiting, like I said, with the Mickey Mouse Club, revisiting something from your childhood, you know, and just having that conversation, you know, like there's something for everybody that they can find in these kind of things.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
It's a lot of fun.
Nice. So what would you like everyone to take away from this conversation today?
Well, I mean, certainly I want more people to come and check us out at Incredicon and Incredichat. And I mean, you can find that we're Incredicon HV. That's the website. But if you want to like and follow us, it's facebook.com/Incredicon HV. You know, so, and like I said, we new content every week. And then Grazia has his Get in Tune also on Facebook too. So, you know, he again, between the both of us, we tons of new, I don't say tons, but like twice a week new content. But I mean, in comparison, like I said, to other cons, like, you know, I can post about they cast Miss Marvel today, you know, but everybody's
doing it. Yes.
You know,
yes.
So like, you know, we want to have original content, and that's the one thing that I want people to come. And like I said, if anybody that's watching this that's interested in being on Incredichat or Get in Tune, reach out to me and Grazia. You know, because we would love to have you on there and promote what it is that you're doing. And certainly if you're in the area, whether it be for the October 24th show or something else, reach out to us, and we'd love to have you as a guest at one of our shows.
Outstanding. Now, do you have any videos from your previous events?
From the conventions, you mean?
Yes. Yeah.
There might be a few things on YouTube. We're in the process of making an official Incredicon and Incredichat page. A lot of content lives on Grazia's Get in Tune page right now. There's a couple of things on the Facebook page. I mean, if you go to the Facebook page, gosh, I mean, how many weeks have we been in quarantine? There's got to be at least 20 or 30 videos of the Incredichats.
Right.
And like those are all living there now. They're going to go over to YouTube, and we're also going to take some of them and put them as downloadable podcasts too, like the audio, so you can hear that.
Right. But do you have anything that shows your actual con?
Yeah, no, there's some pictures and videos on there, but at this point now, because we've been doing these live streams, they're like buried on the Facebook page.
Right.
So
you know,
just we have some cool pictures like with Joe Sinnott and stuff like that. Joe was at most of our shows. Unfortunately, we lost him this year, but you know.
Yeah. We lost quite a few people this year. It was unfortunate.
A little crazy, right?
It's nuts. I don't know if you ever knew Robert Garrett, who created Exmoor. He had Exmoor Studios, and he had a book called Galtao. He and I worked at retailer together, and I was in security. He was in stock, and we started working together. He was one of the original guys that was with Crazy Comics. with me, and we lost him a year ago. And not only that, but Roderick Paul, who is also of the Toy Masters, and he would go to every show and give love to all the creators and get you on their videos and on the YouTube channel. So it's amazing when you kept seeing how many people were losing. It's scary. It was scary. And when you think about we're all in the same age group, and it's like, wow, it really hits close to home.
It's like Chadwick Boseman, right? Jeez.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Who knew? Who knew, right?
Who knew? Yeah, and the count just continues, and that's the scary part of this year. And I think I'm hoping that at least it gave families a chance to reconnect, because we've been, I grew up in an era where it was about family. I grew up where we always had dinner together at the table. I grew up where, you always said I loved you before you left the house. You hugged when you came back.
Yeah.
Everybody sat together in the living room and watched whatever it was on TV whether it was 8 is enough or whatever it was, we watched together as a family. Now everyone's doing their own thing. Everyone's glued to a device. Everyone is running, trying to be the next, Kardashian or the next, Kanye, and
TikTok.
And family took a back seat. So I'm hoping that what this did was at least reconnect. It definitely separated a lot of families because they realized they really didn't like each other. That's why they were on the move. But at least reconnected with friends, reconnected with family, and put things in perspective and instead of chasing the dollar, chase your dream.
100%. Absolutely.
But I enjoyed this conversation with you.
Oh, likewise. It's good times always. And
let me know if you've locked in that date and you're going to do it. Because remember, I do. This is live, but I do 2 shows a week that's recorded up in the week. So I will plug it on those shows on the Crazy and 10 or Less or in What's in the Box. I will mention the fact once you lock in a date and you have it official.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll make sure that we put the word out for you as well.
And you guys are welcome to come up here and join once we lock in that day too.
Yeah, just say the word.
Absolutely.
Say the word, And I think George lives near you in that area, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's like up in Westchester.
Yeah. So he's closer than I am.
I mean, absolutely. You guys are welcome to come.
Absolutely. Just say the word. We'll be there. I enjoyed this conversation, and remember, Incredicon, you can find them on Facebook. Don't type in Mike Lopez. It's easier to just put in Incredicon because I was trying to type in I'm trying to find you.
Well, you see, I'm hidden too because that's not how you really spell my name. I hide it from the kids at school.
Yeah, I know, because you have 2 I's, and I'm like, there's an S and a Z. I'm like, oh, he's confused. Is he hiding from the IRS?
Teenager.
Yes. But no, again, it was a pleasure having you on again. I wish you much success. Good luck. This is exciting. Kudos to you for going out there and showing the big boys that nothing's going to stop you from moving forward.
There you go.
Congrats, buddy.
All righty. Thank you, everybody.
You got it.
All right.
And I am back. And that was Mike Lopez of Incredicon. So if you have not been at one of his shows, reach out to him and make sure that you get down with the Get Down and support his shows. Support the local independents. I love when the small guys are supporting the small guys. That's what it's all about. If you lock in that date, I will make an effort to get there. If it's on a weekend, it's even better. If it's on a weekday, I'm not sure. But a weekend, definitely better. I will definitely be there. So this was another episode of Catch the Craze. This was our live episode with Mike Lopez of Incredicon. As you can see, we have our Kickstarter going. Right now, we're currently at 10%. We're trying to get to 25% in our first week. This is my first ever. So I am a novice. I'm a Kickstarter virgin. I need your help. Help me get to that 10%, that 25% marker. All my friends out there, all my family out there, all of you fans of the Is Kneeling in My Toilet If you love that, you're going to love this book. I'm telling you. Don't sleep on it. And so here's a couple of covers. There's those knuckleheads. We are the craze. No, thank you, buddy. Thank you. And here's another cover. These covers were done by me, but we have a fantastic artist. His name is JC, and he's going to do his thing on the book, and I can't wait to show it to you guys. So, again, Incredicon, Facebook, check out Mike Lopez. I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera. Go to Kickstarter. It's Catch the Crazies. It's right there on the screen, right there. I don't know if you can see it, but right there. Catch the Crazies on Kickstarter. Use that code, that referral code to refer friends that's scrolling on top of the screen. I will have it in the notes in this video. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. Let us know that you really liked it. Please subscribe. Hit that bell. Hit the bell so you always get reminders. I appreciate you. Much success to you and your family. Be safe. Be healthy. I'm Sam. Catch the Craze. We out. And stop. And